Rule 2, software and control. You can program your robot however you want. Doesn't matter. You can use the apps. You can use a third-party programming language. The Spike Prime naturally supports Python if you want, or you can use the bricks. The blocks, I'm sorry, not the bricks. The bricks are the Legos. You can get an SD card and put Python, Java, Robot C, C, C++, any language you want on the EV3 for the most part. We don't care how you program your robot. What we do care about is that the robot is autonomous. That means you cannot use a remote controller or a computer on your robot during the match. In the competition area, we don't allow any remote control. That doesn't mean when you're running a match on the table. That means in the competition area. No Bluetooth, no remote control. This generally isn't a problem for our more experienced teams, but new teams come in not knowing. And we will make sure that you know that everything has to be done. You touch the robot and start it, and then you can't touch it until it's ready to start a new run. You can do that multiple times during a match. You can do that multiple times during a run. You can interrupt the robot and start it over. We'll talk about that. But you cannot use a computer or a control remotely. For the EV3, there's an IR sensor with an IR remote that you can get. It doesn't come with the education set, I don't think. But it is a part you could buy. You can't use that in the competition because it is a remote control. So keep that in mind. All right, rule 3, robot. The robot includes the controller and anything attached by hand that is not intended to separate it unless by hand. I've got 2 examples here. So if you have a forklift attachment, that's part of the robot while it's attached. If you have a weight on the robot that it's carrying. So if I were to just lay a motor on top of the robot, this motor does not count as part of the robot because it's not attached to the robot. So that's as long as you intend for it to separate at some point. Generally, it's pretty clear here. There's not a lot of ambiguity in this rule, I don't think. But if you have questions, let us know and we can clear it up. But when we say robot, we're talking about the brick and anything that you have attached to it, but not anything that it's carrying. All right, mission models. The mission models is anything on the table when you get there. So there will be all the models on the mat. There will be some stray pieces in the non-mat area of the table. But as you go through, that's kind of the difference. So equipment is what you bring to the table. Mission models are anything that's already there. And there's a few notes here. No matter what, you cannot take apart a mission model. You can take apart your robot. You cannot take apart a mission model. If you combine the mission model with anything, you can combine, some of the models are really small. You can combine them with the robot, but it needs to be loose so that you could free it pretty much immediately. And any part of the model counts as the model. So we kind of have this dividing line is that equipment is your stuff and mission model is our stuff, First Lego League. So that's the distinction there is if it's part of the robot and you brought it, it's yours. If it is not yours and it was there when you got there, it's a mission model. All right, precision tokens are these little red discs that we'll talk about when we get to the mission for them. But they're worth 3 points if you don't touch your robot when you're not supposed to. The referee will get rid of them as they need to, but we'll talk about them in plenty of depth. When we say precision tokens, that's what we're talking about, and you'll see them when we get to their mission. All right, a mission is a task. Could be multiple tasks. They're worth points, and you do them in any order you want. There are 17 missions in Cargo Connect. You don't have to do them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You don't have to. You don't have to do them all. You don't have to do any of them. You do as many or as few as you think you can, and you do them in any order you can. But you only have 2.5 minutes to do as many as you can. All right, rule 7, a match. It's when 2 teams play opposite each other on the 2 fields. So you saw the table already. In a match, there will be 2 tables, kind of opposite directions, and each table will have a team running their own robot. For about 95% of the match, what the other team is doing does not affect you in any way, shape, form, or fashion. For one mission, it will, and we'll talk about that when we get to it. But there will be 2 teams running at the same time, so it'll be your team and another team every match, and it could be the same team each time. It could be different teams, but you'll have that schedule in advance of your competition.